Good afternoon. Hubert Grimes. I serve as the interim president here at Bethune-Cookman University. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon, and we can hopefully provide you with some information regarding our recent Board of Trustees meeting, as well as any questions that you might have. Also sitting with me is our Board of Trustee member, Judge Belvin Perry, and grateful that he could join us this afternoon. We'll be happy to go from there.
Can you kind of talk about this morning's meeting? There was a lot of anticipation about a series of actions that would be taken.
Well, I'd like to think of it as being I think of it as being a very productive meeting. I actually have some highlights that we've written that sort of captures the overall meeting. It's a two-day meeting. We can say that there were elections to the board that occurred this time. One current member of the board, Ray Brinson, was retained, and one new alumnus was added to the board, Jeffrey Branch, 2005 graduate, so he'll certainly represent the younger generation of Wildcats. A lot of, I should say, housekeeping matters were taken care of, bylaw changes. A couple things people might be very interested in is that this, for the first time, the board granted full voting rights to the SGA representative, to the faculty representative, and to the National Alumni Association representative. And of course, we moved forward with implementing and reported on the implementation of the board's mandate for reduction in labor, as well as to address some of the financial issues that we have going forward. And we gave a report on that, indicating the progress that's being made and the intent of this administration to continue moving forward to right-size the ship, and so that we can make sure we're here for sustainability of the long haul. Some of those cuts have already taken place. Some of the salary reductions have also been provided to the staff. There will be some additional things that need to be done in order for us to meet our goals in this respect. And of course, I think I guess you can say the highlight of the day, there's an update about the presidential search. There are 3 candidates that will be brought to campus during the last week of January to meet with various university stakeholders. The board chair, Dr. Carter Scott, announced that she would be stepping down from her position upon the completion of the presidential search. However, the Board of Trustees voted that she be removed as chair of the board immediately, and it was passed by a majority vote.
Is she still a member of the board?
She's still a member of the board.
And will she continue to be a member of the board even after a new president is named?
I don't know. That's too early to tell. She may be. I can't tell. It really be her choice.
Okay. So the vote today was just more about the title and position of chairwoman, not about her actual place at the table, if
Correct.
You will. Okay.
And so I'll talk more about the administration side, and I'll defer to Judge Perry from the Board of Trustees side.
Judge Perry, you mentioned last Friday that you wanted to move to have the entire lot of board members resign. Is that something you move forward with? Are you satisfied with the outcome of the meeting?
I'm very satisfied with the outcome of the meeting. The main contention was to have new leadership at the top. There's been no secret that there was bickering and infighting, which justified a need for new leadership. I can tell you that the board as a whole now is excited to move forward. We know that we have faced difficult days in the past, but we are really upbeat about BCU's future. We're taking the necessary steps to right the ship in terms of our finances, and the board has a renewed interest in working together, and more importantly, working hand in hand with the administration. So I think our future is very bright, and I look forward to the task at hand.
Who's the chair of the board now?
I will step in. I was third vice chair. We lost the first, second, so I'm the last person standing, so to speak. The board will make a determination as to how long I will stay, whether or not we will hold new elections. That has been forwarded to our legal committee who will give us an opinion on the proper way to proceed to fill that seat permanently. But until that is done, I step in as board chair.
Did any other board members step down today?
No.
And the one new addition, were they part of that 3?
No.
Okay, so it's somewhat different then.
How many board members are there now?
There are currently 10.
Is Renee Forbes still on the board?
Yes, she is.
Do you know, was it ever disclosed to the board about her history and the loan that the former chairwoman had given her due to her bankruptcy hearing before she was nominated to be in that position of finance? Was that ever disclosed to you all?
It was not disclosed to us, no. We found out, like most people found out, via the internet and other individuals forwarding that information, which was a matter of public record.
And did Ms. Scott ever explain why she never disclosed that information about that personal loan she had given?
That has never been disclosed. In fairness to her, she was never asked. The subject, because of the length of our board meetings and the things that we had to discuss, did not come up today. But that will probably be something that the board will have to take a look at.
You mentioned last Friday, as you look at the academic and financial issues with the university right now, there's a lot of turmoil with the trustees, and obviously there's focus on trying to look at the brighter future for the university. But there still are these issues at hand that you have to tackle. What is the plan moving forward on trying to create calmer waters with the board, trying to figure out where the $25 million with, trying to get off of academic probation? It is a heavy to-do list with a lot of different moods, if you will. How do you address that with the right tone and move forward?
Well, certainly from the administration side, we recognize that there's a lot of work to be done. That process is already ongoing. For example, on the accreditation side, actually not accreditation, on the probation side, and I need to make that clear distinction. The university has not lost its accreditation. On the probation side, in terms of things that we need to address, we have been working on that. Roughly six out of the 9 issues have been put forth. There's certainly updates on our website for parents and students and others to take a look at. We will continue to work through that. I believe we'll work even closer with the board in trying to craft solutions on those issues that are board related. And then as it relates to the other issues, one of the big things that I see us having to do is to get our financial house in order. And of course, we are looking for those persons and hopefully those donors that might have been waiting back or slow to give. We are hoping for the alums, whether it be friends, people out in the community and the like. We're looking forward to reestablishing a very active and aggressive fundraising campaign. Part of our realization, of course, is as we slash the budget somewhat, but at the same time we need to increase revenues coming in, and so that's the focal point. In addition to that, of course, we've got we're reaching out and trying to build camaraderie and collaboration throughout the VCU community, and we will continue to do that.
Judge Grimes, you mentioned some of those cuts to tie in the budget have taken effect already today. How many cuts have we seen, and kind of what positions have been cut? Are we talking faculty, staff, is it administration?
We tried to mitigate any faculty cuts. There were some salary reductions, but for the most part, those affected people primarily on the staff side. We tried to be as, I guess you could say, protective of our front responders, so to speak, in terms of the faculty. But at the same time, we also recognize that we've got to make cuts and we've got to make changes. We've been doing that over a period of time, even since last year when I first got here, except we've come to a point of recognizing we need to do more. And so the first wave of those cuts have already taken effect. First wave of salary adjustments also taken effect. And now we will be looking to find other areas that we can also adjust with. But at the same time that we're cutting on the one hand, I don't want people to say, oh my God, they're getting ready to go out of business. Far from it. We are actually going to, I believe we're going to meet every one of our goals, every one of our issues, and I truly believe that we're going to, our best days are in front of us.
How many positions and how much money are you talking about that the cuts would before the university?
The final number is probably going to vary a little bit, so I don't want to throw a raw number out there and try to frighten people in terms of the number of persons that will be affected by it. And I'm going to say affected because some are being affected by the actual elimination of some jobs, but at the same time others are being affected because of salary adjustments. And we've done this, we tried to defer this as long as we could in order to be able to not harm people, but at the same time from this being a business enterprise, Bethune-Cookman has to make those adjustments now. They're painful adjustments. It's not something that I get joy out of by any means, but the things that we have to do in order to be able to continue moving forward. And so I seek the help and assistance of those on the outside that wish to help us. Come on, now's the time.
You can't say if it's 500,000, a million, 2 million.
Oh, in terms of what our goals are monetarily?
Well, as far as when you
Sure.
look at staff and the furlough and whatnot.
The first round affected about $2 million in terms of combination of reductions in staff and also reductions in salary adjustments. We will be making the goal is to hit around $4 million is what the ultimate goal is, $4 million annualized savings.
You asked a question about what happened to the $25 million. In October of 2017, Judge Grimes and myself met with the Federal Bureau of Investigation because we had gone through various documents that raised our antennas, which led to the civil lawsuit dealing with fraud, etc. We met this week, Judge Grimes and myself, with, again, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, commonly called the FBI, and the Department of Education Investigative Unit. So we have been cooperating with them in order to find out what happened to whatever amount of money, whether it was $13 million or $25 million. It requires resources that we cannot get through a civil suit. That investigation is in their purview. As you know, we have no control over it. We don't even know what stage they're in. The only thing that we do is cooperate and provide them with the information. You addressed the issue asked the question about turmoil. I think the days of turmoil, hopefully, is over with now. I think this board, and we will be discussing more transparency. We will be discussing opening the board meeting up to the public. Of course, there are going to be certain functions that we have to meet in private about, but we want to be more transparent so that people will see that this new beginning of Bethune-Cookman University, we have to be transparent. We have to have the light shown on what we do, because that is very important for investors, people who want to invest in Bethune-Cookman, to see that everything is transparent, and that's what we're moving towards. I remember I said this cloak of darkness. Well, the board and the members that I have polled all agree that we need to be more transparent, and you will see a better working relationship with the board. We won't be trying to figure out each month how to fire this man. We're going to talk about working together for the good of Bethune-Cookman University. The board loves this school, and it's going to take us a few days to rechart, but the chart has already been laid, and there will be moves in the future that you will see that will lead not only to BCU surviving, but thriving. And the best is yet to come. Today marks a new beginning for Bethune-Cookman University. Of course, you're going to have naysayers out there who are going to say what they want to say, and they have a right to speak their piece. But the only thing that we asked, look at the fruit that we will bear as a university. I guarantee you that the working relationship between the administration and the board will be 210% better. I guarantee you that our communication with things we can share with you will be 200% better. There are going to be some things that we can't discuss because of pending, and I think you all understand that, because we got attorney-client privilege, work product privilege, and there are going to be certain things we can't say, but as much information as we can share, we're going to move forward with that.
My last question, you joked a moment ago kind of about firing interim President Grimes, but as you mentioned, 3 candidates coming in here in January for the president job. Can you talk about any dynamics of who those 3 candidates are, anything about them?
Unfortunately, the only information that as a board that we got yesterday, so I can't say. That process in a lot of ways was...
Are they all outsiders?
Yes, from what I can tell. Again, it was just shared with the board as a whole yesterday, and that was one of the problems, to be frank with you. My concern has always been this. Judge Grimes has been here. He knows where the bones are somewhat buried. He knows the things that need to be fixed. And I've always been an advocate of let's stabilize this university. Now this is my opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board. I'm speaking as an individual trustee. But you stabilize something, you got to right the ship. He started this thing 17 months ago. Might not have moved as quick as some folks wanted him to move. But when you're fighting for your life and fighting to keep your job and getting requests that sometimes border on the ridiculous, and it makes it hard for you to do all these things and juggle all these balls. But I think now with a better working relationship, we can chart the course to do what we need to do. As you say, the search goes on, and we will see. I cannot say what the board is going to do. The role of a chair of a board is not one of a dictator. The board speaks, and whatever message the board sends, I will send it. So I can't tell you what we're going to do. The board will do that.
Okay. Are you a contender for the president, John? Is it something you want?
I'm not a part of the presidential search. I withdrew from that consideration back in June of last year, and I've continued to focus on doing the work. I did not want that or anyone to believe that should distract me from the work, or that should become some method by which I was trying to quote unquote slide in. My focus is let's get the work done. We've got to get through the probation cycles. We've got to right size the budget. We've got litigation issues we got. All of those things are in front of us, and they're things that require focused attention. So we're looking forward to moving.
But not out of your question that the board decided, you know what, hey, let's look at Grimes as a possibility. Not out of your question.
That's one of those things you cross that bridge when you come to it. But no, at this time, no, my focus is let's get the work done.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There's been issues before about candidates not being properly vetted. What is the board going to do or the school going to do to make sure that these candidates, these 3 men or women for president, are properly vetted so that you do have the best person here?
Well, one of the issues that I have raised and will consistently raise is whoever it will be, whether it will be interim President Grimes or anyone else, I truly believe in fully vetting people, including extensive background checks, credit checks, and checking people other than who people refer to in their resumes. As you know, that has been a problem here, and I'm only one vote. And my vote will always go to full disclosure and proper vetting. And I think from the trustees I've talked to, most of them concur with that. I don't want any rush to do anything. To be frank with you, I think the timeline that was put in place was the wrong timeline. It was a timeline that changed from the original timeline, because the original timeline was until after we had gotten through reaffirmation. And the motivation behind that was to get him out of here, since they had tried unsuccessfully many times. But it's a new day.
Judge Perry, will you then push to call off or delay the presidential search?
Have I been what?
Will you push to call off or delay the presidential search then?
I'm not going to push or call off anything. That's a decision for the board to make. And until that matter is ripe for discussion, I think it'll be a little premature for me to deal with that. All I want to do is make sure that we do what is right for this great university.
So as of right now then, there's still plans to have a new president by the end of February?
All I can tell you is what the timeline was, and since there's been a change in the direction, we will have to see which direction the board wants to go to. I cannot speak for the board because that's the timeline that has been set, and that will be something that we will have to deal with.
And again, just to be clear, Chairwoman Michelle Carter Scott said today she would step down as chairwoman after the conclusion of the presidential search, but then the board said, we'd rather you not be chairwoman as of this moment, and then that bumped you up to chairperson.
Well, you're correct. The biggest problem was when pressed for an exact date when she would step down, she would not say it. And that was the impetus for that.
Do you recall what the vote was to have her step down?
I am not authorized at this time to give that, but all I can tell you was that any movement of a motion of that nature requires a majority of the trustees.
Judge Perry, last question for you that I can think of. You said at the press conference, I believe last week, that in regards to the forensic audit, if it were up to you, you would have it redacted and then release what you could of it. Now that you are in charge, do you plan to do that?
As I say before, the chair of a board has limited authority. That will be a decision that the full board has to make. I still stand behind that statement. I'm going to ask the board to look at what parts that we can release and which parts that we can't release. But that would have to be a decision by the board. I'm only one vote, and my vote would be to release whatever we can release.
When was the audit complete, or is it complete?
Well, parts of it has been completed and parts of it have not. You got to remember there were several parts, and there was that dark spot where the person who was doing a part of it was discharged and told not to complete it. So parts of it have been completed, other parts have not.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you
for your time.
Thank you,
I appreciate it. Appreciate the time.